Want to? Hello, welcome to another episode of Bold Brave Women Conversation. Today I have with me my dear friend
Yay!
Claudia Castillo is in the house. Woo woo! So just because you don't know the magical of Claudia, so we have to tell you a little bit about her. She is a food whisperer, and she has gone through a lot of reincarnation in the last, I don't know, 5 years.
Pretty much.
And, yeah, shedding and finding your truth more and more and more. And it's been so amazing to witness you and be your
Mm.
cheering squad on the side and loving you forward. And but that's not
Mm.
what we're here to talk about today. Today we have a common interest that we find it hilarious, challenging, difficult, touching, heartwarming,
Mm-hmm.
humbling, that we want
Mm-hmm.
to talk about, which is our relationship with our aging single mother who,
Yeah.
because they are single now, and uh, they end up living with us, or in my case, living with me, or I'm living with her part time, and
Mm-hmm.
all the challenges that comes with it, and all the heart and the love that comes with that. So, I am
Yeah.
so excited to have this conversation with you today about this.
Thank
Just
you.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. This is such a hot topic that we hardly ever talk about. And the fact that you and I are in very similar situations, and we have been in similar situations so long since we met, and now we're finding ourselves here, and our conversations have been so enriching to me, and so like
me too.
yeah,
I'm
and
I'm
this
actually looking
one
forward to my
after
own
the other.
healing. Yeah. So so
Yeah, yeah.
um a little background, I guess. So my dad passed away last January before COVID started. And then I went to Europe, and my mom lived by herself for this last year until I came back home. Oh, and my brother moved in there, and they are not getting along. They're at this phase where
Mm,
he's working through some stuff, and she happens to be the thing that he was through with. So I'm kind of like, I
yeah.
used to be the failing child, the one that always traveling somewhere they can't count on, blah blah blah. And now I'm like the best daughter, and I'm the one that she relies on emotionally. So that's me. How about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, that's so interesting that you say that. Oh my gosh, I feel so related to what you just said. Well, little bit of background story on my end. My dad passed away 3 years ago, and I think that another common thing between you and I is that both our parents are immigrants.
Yes,
So yeah,
that
so
adds
your
to the
parents
complexity.
you guys came in a long time ago. But my parents, I came in first uh, 20 years ago. My parents came about 6 years ago. My dad passed away 3 years ago, and my mom
Oh,
completely dedicated to him since they moved here. And moving at that late stage in one's life, it's challenging. And but now I find myself, I had been very independent from them for many years, and now I find myself being, yeah, from coming from being that child that is, free spirit and super independent and doing all the crazy things, becoming vegetarian in a meat eater world, and going on a spiritual path at 21, like super crazy stuff. All of a sudden I am like the centering piece for her, and she's living with me now temporarily, and it's, yeah, there's a lot of stuff,
yeah,
really juicy
and
stuff.
I want to just highlight that a little bit. The part that they are immigrants, and especially your mom, having come here in her first 10 years, like for those of you who've never immigrated into a country before,
Yeah.
you must know that the first 10 years of immigration is the hardest 10 years. You feel lonely, you don't have friends, you don't have support, you don't know how to drive, you don't know how to maintain things. You're very dependent on everything. And then when your
Hmm.
partner die and leave you, that really sucks. So it must really sucks for your mom. And she doesn't even
Hmm.
speak great English either. Is that right?
No, she did speak, both of them spoke the language, but there's something very different between knowing the language and then having to operate within the environment where that is the only way to communicate. Because she could understand, but she
Yeah,
couldn't communicate because she didn't have it in her subconscious.
right.
Um, so that was a big gap too, is
It
how to
is.
communicate and
It's
how,
not was, it still is. And the same with
yeah,
my mom.
yeah.
My mom and I have been here since 78 or 77. I lose track now. But she understands English just fine, but she doesn't understand English. It's the cultural aspect underneath it that she doesn't really understand, and
Yeah.
the music and
Yes.
the
Yeah.
socialization. It's really a strange
Mhm.
thing, and up to now she didn't have to understand because she had my dad, and that they live in their little world,
Mhm.
and she gets to control him the way she wants to, and
Yeah.
everything was fine.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then he's
Yeah.
gone, and now she's having to learn, and so now she wants to make me and my brother her center.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about
And
yours?
you guys are gone. Oh my goodness. Um, so I think that for my mom, because she moved here so blanking out on the words. She moved here just pretty recently, right? And for the first 3 years, she didn't go out and, get settled into a community. She just dedicated to my dad. So her identity was very tied in to being a
Yep,
caretaker and
yep.
being a survivor as well. Like, we're going to make this work. And a lot of personal stuff happened as well for the entire family. My sister and I got divorced at that time, and then my dad passes, and so my sister and I are here like single and looking out for ourselves, and at the same time, trying to embrace her grieving, our own grieving, and her readaptation to a world that she had been in but completely isolated from. So it's this entire dynamic that is so, so unique, so strange. And what that has brought up for me particularly is, um, really coming back to my center so I can be the best for me first, so I can be grounded and more stable, and just hold whatever's going on for her. And is
Holding what's going on for your mother is so important. I
yeah,
I I feel the same way. I'm watching what's going on with her, and part of me, the old part of me, the
yeah,
cultural good daughter part of me, the just normal being a woman that likes to go to guilt and responsibility part of me, wants to go in and fix it for her, protect her, fill
yes,
in the gap for
yeah,
her, and all this stuff. And the rest of me had to hold me back and going, no, you're not doing that. You have to just watch her. And it's
yeah,
okay to let her be.
yeah,
Um, every
yes,
time I drive away in my van and I say goodbye to her, I spend the next day just grieving the separation because I feel so bad for her because she's all by herself.
yes,
She has to
yeah, yeah,
Uber.
yeah, yeah,
She has to put
yeah,
herself out in the world, and I'm like, I'm not going to
yeah.
protect her, but I can't because if I do, I just die. My spirit will
Yeah.
die. I won't be able to be of use to
Oh
myself or
my
to
gosh,
anybody.
yes. Yes, that is, oh my gosh, that is so, so, so true. You just nailed it. I feel exactly the same in terms of if I go out and rescue her, which is what I want to do.
Yeah.
or if I go out and fix it for her, or if I go out and tell her, Mom, you have to snap out of it.
Not
I
helpful.
and be there and engage with that, I will die. I need to come back and retrieve and do the things that support me. So then those moments that I do spend with her, I can just be for her what I
Yeah.
would love for somebody to be for me. So that's the other piece of this whole experience, May, that has been extremely eye-opening is that it really puts me into, well, I'm going to be there eventually. I might not be in the same exact situation, but I'm going to be in a place where I am going to be grieving deeply. I am going to be pouting. I am going to be not wanting to do anything. And my daughter might want to say, Hey, Mom, you got to go out there and do something. And I'm going to be
Get a
like,
life, mom.
you
Wake
know,
up. You're
stop
80. I
it.
don't care.
Yeah. So I practicing patience for myself, or not patient for myself, but practicing what goes on, honoring what goes on for me as I honor what goes on for her, in holding that energy of I need to retrieve. I know that you're wanting to just sit with me on the sofa and talk about all the stuff that I really can't hold space for right now. I do that and then I am able to come out and spend a few minutes and then also setting boundaries like this whole it's oh my gosh, this has been the experience of my life for self-growth
Well,
and
and
for
it's a practice of
and
love,
for
like,
practicing compassion.
yeah. And we talk
Yeah.
about love and all this stuff, but love looks so different in so many ways. And this is one way, is how do you love your mom? And I'm so loyal to her and supportive of her, and at the same time I can't forget who I am. And my mom and I have we have
Yes.
an extra thing. I don't know if you have this one, but we have a political difference. Let's put it politely. A
Oh
political
man,
difference.
that's
So
hard.
she's a Trumpster and I'm not.
That is really tough. We have a health approach difference, which can be
Oh,
very dicey too.
yes,
Um,
totally.
but man, yeah. So I've been watching you in, the posts that you have talked about how you handle those differences, and it's just brilliant. And I think that there's so much uh, deep breathing here to be had, and really honoring the truth of somebody else and having different levels of conversation, like that nonviolent communication
But
piece.
what's been so good about this is that it really, at first I thought that's just horrible, but what it has done for both of us is it made us grow up as people, as human with each other. We had to go beyond our opinions and what we hear and all this stuff, and we have to anchor in love. And it's been so
Oh man,
awesome
yeah,
to watch.
yeah,
And now we
yeah.
even celebrate that together. We would be
Wow.
driving, I'd
Talk
be
about that
driving,
a little more.
yeah, I'd be driving, and then she would say, she's filled with news and I'm filled with news. I know not to bring this up to her, but she can't help herself because she doesn't have anyone to talk to. So then she would say something, and I would breathe that
Oh
in,
my
like,
gosh.
that's number one. I don't react. I don't say anything. I just let her keep talking, and then she would catch herself and she'd stop, and then she would come back and say number two, another comment that's really irritates the heck out of me, and I'm like, that's two. I'm gonna keep driving and keep being patient. And then she would launch into number three. And then now she's going past the line. So I like, okay, now that you're gonna bring that up, I'm gonna have to address this with you. So I'd address it and we'd go at each other. And we spot. And then we both just go, okay, that's enough. And and then we just literally look at each other and go, so what do you want to eat tonight? And just completely shift the conversation. And we are so good at letting go of being right now that I actually honor, I say it out loud. I'm like, I'm so proud of us that we can have different opinions about this and
Ah,
that we
yeah.
still choose love and choose to respect and honor each other. And she's like, yeah, me too, and that's how it should be. And blah, 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 blah.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
know, like we can, and we are now
That's
honoring when we
amazing.
fight like that. We're like, oh, there we go. Okay, get it out. I'll get it out. Okay, are we done? Okay, good. Now let's talk about what do you want to do now?
That
That's
is
success.
that is such a win. If nothing else happens and you guys continue that, I think that that's huge. The fact that your mom can acknowledge that you guys can have that and then go back and not be anchored, not be attached or like,
Right.
oh, hung up on that
And
feeling
we
of
don't,
like, oh,
I don't suppress,
we're not there
like my
yet, but
my brother suppressed himself and then he blows up at her. And then she's hurt, he's hurt, and then it takes a while to recover. I'm like, nope, we're not doing that. I just can't. And oh, and another thing I do is when I am redirecting her, I make sure I look her in the eyes and I tell her, and I love you exactly as you are. I don't agree with you, and it's not okay that you did that, and I love you, and I'm still here for you, but don't do that again. And I still love you.
mm,
So I
mm,
reinforce the love with her,
mhm,
and
mhm.
and then she's just kind of like can handle it, and then we go
Yeah,
on. It's
yeah.
amazing. I love it.
That is
So
amazing, May.
yeah,
Wow.
so how do you handle your difference in health?
Wow. Okay. So thank you for all that experience that you shared. So we have had moments in which I just hold myself back from saying a lot. And I do that because I guess I have I'm still working on my triggers and there's like if I ever, intended on I am gonna be working on my triggers and this is what I'm going to do. This is, I owe it to myself. I owe it to the work that I do in the world to work on myself. And I felt that I was good. I was doing a good job. And then my mom moved in with me, right? So, the things that I have to work on the most are like, right here every day. Um, so because I don't want to react, I hold myself back and I go into my
Mm,
own process.
mm.
And I still find myself, I do set boundaries. There's something about the receiving of those boundaries that doesn't seem to percolate. It doesn't seem to come. So we do have some challenges because eventually I need to be more forceful than I want to be in setting boundaries. And then it creates
Well,
this commotion that you're
our
talking
mothers are
about.
they're never good at boundaries. They never had boundaries done to them. They would set boundaries because that's their matriarchal world, right? But when we have
Yeah,
to agree on a boundary, it's shocking to them. So it takes a while. I mean, this is not an
it
overnight
is.
conversation.
It
It
is
takes a while
shocking.
yeah, to help her get used to
Yeah, and it
boundaries.
is. And what I like about what you said in your exchanges with your mom, how you're handling it, it's that it gives me the opportunity to remember that boundaries are a way of loving this third entity that's being created in our relationship. Is like she and I in our relationship, right? So honoring, loving that relationship. So I it gives me different tools to practice when I set boundaries with my mom. Is mom, this is important for me and I still love you. I know that this is hard for you. So thank you. It's
Yeah.
really huge. I know that for me in particular, it feels like my mom doesn't hear me. So it's that subconscious a trigger that I need to speak louder and I need to be
Oh,
like the man and I get out of my heart and into my head
oh,
and that's not me. So
oh, that
I think
hurts.
that piece of I have to not be me so that
Yeah.
she can know that I'm in business, that this is
Mm,
serious for me is so softening that part. I think that being able to come from my heart and still be love in that moment is it's going to be interesting how I can
It's a
practice that.
practice. It's, oh my God, it's a commitment to practice that. And
Yeah.
speaking of boundary, I have a funny story that so I was staying with her this last round, and I cleaned up the area and the house, and it looks good. So I wanted to bring some flowers in. So I asked her, I said, "Would you like me to get you some flowers?" And she said, "No, no, don't buy me flowers. That's a waste of money." You know, she does this kind of thing, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get myself flowers then. So I went and I got some tulips, which is I love. And I love having the tulip just drape, and how, you know, how tulips just kind of evolve over
Yeah.
time, and it's just
Yeah. They
droop,
kind
and
of
it's
droop. Yeah.
it falls out, and it takes up space, right? So this one morning, I was just looking at it, and I'm like, oh, I love how it's becoming. It's so pretty. And then when I said to take a shower, I came back, and all the tulips was cut and truncated and stuffed back into the vase. And I'm like, what happened to my tulips? And my mom's like, well, it was getting too long and too droopy, so I cut them up and made them more efficient, and it looks so much better now. I'm like, it was so violent that I'm like, Mom, those were my tulips. I want them the way I want them. I didn't want you. And then she goes to pouting. This is what my mom does. I don't know what your mom does as a tools, right? But my mom goes to pouting. Fine, fine. You know, everything in this house that belongs to me, I think that it belongs to everybody and we can share. But apparently, when it's your thing, then it's not, it's just yours and not
Oh, the
mine.
guilt
And
trip. Yeah.
oh my God, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, have you just gone crazy? If I go up to your bedroom and move things around the way I think it should be done, or throw shit out like you're hoarding stuff, you'd have a shit fit at me. But you just got the flowers. I offer you to have your own flowers. So it was so funny, and it was just so dramatic. And then so then she goes to, well, I see now that I have to learn. I'm like, good. And she's like, I have to learn to treat my children like they're strangers, not my children. Last ding of guilt, right? And I thought about it, and I'm like, yes, that is true. You really should learn that. Well, because it's actually true, right? I mean, we have to treat people with respect and with boundaries, and sometimes that to her feels like
Yeah.
it's a stranger that she that have to do, and I'm like, that's okay. I
Yeah.
will take that stranger position in this house
Yeah.
instead of your child that you can do anything to. Oh, the guilt that
Yeah,
she
no, that's
owns.
that's so true.
How does your mom throw
It's
guilt?
so my so she actually doesn't. You know what? One thing that this has given me this experience with, being so close with my mom. She's been with me for like 8 months now, and is that I have really seen things about her that I didn't see before that are phenomenal. She's an
Mm,
amazing. I mean, I can cry because I never a year ago, if anybody would have told me, your mom is gonna end up living with you, I would have said no freaking way ever. That is never gonna happen. And here we are, and it has been a huge eye opener for me in appreciating all the effort that she does all the time. She knows that this is my home,
mm,
and she will be very careful, and she will she will do things, but because I have been able to see how careful she is and how much she tries, it has softened my reactivity to
mm.
things that she might do. And I think that in me softening up, she
Yeah.
has relaxed a little bit. So, we little by little, I can so see it little by little, we end up just really flowing with each other and helping each other.
Nice.
And we have built this camaraderie that it's not like we're best friends, and I
Yeah.
don't think that I can ever be her best friend, but we really appreciate each other. And I think I just feel so fortunate. I just feel
Mm.
so incredibly fortunate that I can be in peace with that. And
That's so
but the
touching.
thing it is, and I'm almost like tearing up.
Mm-hmm.
I have had to toughen up a lot with my mom because she's
Mm-hmm.
had a really difficult life. I think that, most people have, right? I mean, I cannot even imagine what your parents went through. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but just having that in the back of my mind when she's doing her thing that really triggers me, it helps me gain perspective. And yeah, so the thing is that within the past 10 days, we things changed, and now she's going to be moving into her own apartment.
Oh, now you're
So
gonna miss
yeah.
her. Not really. A little bit.
And guess what? Well, not really, but there is a part of me that's going to miss being able to give her this sense of stability that she hasn't had
Yeah.
in many years. But now
Yeah.
she's going to have it in her own place, so we're
Right.
celebrating that, and it's great. But yeah, so going back to, how parents, how our moms, single moms, not they're connecting to us, or more dependent on us, how she is reacting. She will be in this space of, oh shit, is this what's going on? Okay, okay, let's get up and let's move on. Let's do whatever needs to happen. And because we have had situations that are very, very tricky. When Sabrina was living here, my daughter, she was living here as well. This is a two-bedroom apartment, and she was coming in, and then her boyfriend needed to have a place to stay. So all of a sudden, it was going to be four of us here, and ah, I was going to be sleeping in the kitchen or something. And
The
but
bathtub.
she in my car, honestly, I thought about all the possibilities. I want to
Yeah.
join you in your van. But how she has been able, like, she takes about half a day, but she comes back and she has this energy of, like, you know what? Let's just be practical. and then and then something else happened. So in that sense, I've been very, very appreciative of who she is. Yeah.
It's like what I'm getting from that is like, you know, like don't treat her like helpless. She too is looking to contribute and partner with you,
Yeah.
and she will show up the way she show up, and it's up to us to co dance with her, to collaborate with her, and to empower her to have the space to co lead with us rather than
Yeah.
treating her like a dependent and you have to take care of her and all that stuff.
That is huge what you're saying. Thank you for bringing that aspect of it, because what I think happens also with moms is that I don't know if your mom says, but my mom will say to me, "But you will always be my baby." I'm the youngest of five. Okay.
Yeah,
So she will say to me, "You will always be my baby." Like, I'm a chef, right? And I
yeah,
I lead cooking sessions, and I
yeah.
cooking classes, and this whole thing. And then she will tell me how to cook something, like, step by step. And the third time that she does that in the same meal, I would say, "Mom, do you remember what I do for a living?" And then she'll say, no, she'll say, "Well, you'll always be my baby. You can be all this stuff, chef and everything, but you will always be my baby." And I'm like, oh. But so I think that one of the greatest things that I always forget, but when I remember, is great, or it's awesome, is to ask her for help. "Mom, do you think that you can help me with this?" Because that she's no longer the head of the house, the caretaker, the holder of the family. She's this little old lady,
Yeah,
cute, and
they
she
feel
loves to do all these
useless.
things,
You
and
know,
she's so capable.
Yeah, but they feel useless
Yeah.
because once they're caretaker, my mom was caretaking my dad also. When that role was taken away, she's no longer having to take care of us. She needs something to take care of. And so
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it gives her a sense of purpose and it gives her something to do. And then you have to make sure that she doesn't overdoes it and then go to victim role and then start going, but I always cook for you guys and you don't appreciate me. Well, you know,
Yeah.
it's like we try to manage that delicate balance. Like, okay,
It's
mom,
that
thank you.
balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I shared the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
relationship coach. I know about relationships. And my mom like would give me advice on how I should talk to my clients and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you 3 shots. I'm like, well, that's one. And I'll wait, and that's two, and that's three. Okay, now I'm gonna have to back out of this one. I'm like, okay, mom, this is what I do, right? but but
Oh my
I
gosh,
like my
so
mom does
funny.
the same thing. I'm always her daughter, and she feels like she's running out of time, and so she has to teach me things just in case I didn't know, right?
Mm,
And
yeah.
so I totally get that, and I would make space for her to do that, and at the same time, I have to manage the part of me, that teenager inside me, that go, what do you think I do for a living? So it's just like constant self management in here. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, honey, you're great. Yeah, yes, you do know what you're talking about. Oh, I love you so much. You're great. Keep going. And that's just your mom needing help, needing to be valuable and needing to be respected. So give her some love, give her some respect. This has nothing to do with you, because my teenager wants to get up and go, don't you know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah,
that's not
totally.
helpful.
Totally. And what I have found, May, is that that part, my teenager, rebellious, like, you're not going to tell me what to do, it comes out when I'm depleted. So
Yes.
again, making sure that I recognize that, because it's not like,
Yep.
oh, I am going to be the master of replenishing myself. It's because there's
Yeah.
that, I mean, bullshit. That doesn't happen. We're human and we have a life.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so like having that moment of like, ooh, okay, this is happening. I am being triggered. And this is why it's happening so evidently for me right now. What do I need? How can I practice the best that I can in the moment?
Yeah.
And and one thing that came up for me when you were talking right now is how this relationship with my mom as her daughter, but now being sort of like, holding holding her life, the shape of her life,
Yep.
how that relationship is shaping my new relationship with my daughter, who is
Yes.
already on her own.
Yep.
And it's and I know that you and Maya also, your relationship with Maya is such a beautiful thing to witness. And I also related to my relationship with Serena, Maya and Serena being
Yep.
such good buddies growing up.
Yep.
Um, so I just wonder how that is for you also with
Well,
Maya and her grandma.
this is why I was so committed to healing my relationship with my mom about 12 years ago. No, actually, when Maya was born, Maya's 20 now, and Sabrina is 21 now, right? Happy birthday, mom.
She's gonna be
21 years.
21 on a week. Yeah.
Oh, right. She's coming up.
Yeah.
So Maya
Yeah.
just turned 20. And when she was born, I looked at my mom and her relationship to her mother, and it was fine, but it's lukewarm. And it's not something that I want. I want
Mm,
the reason why I chose
yeah.
to have only one daughter is because I want devoted relationship to her. I don't want to dilute it. And so
Mm,
I realized at that
mm,
time was that if I wanted a relationship with my daughter when I'm older, then I best clean up my relationship with my mom now because she's watching me.
yeah.
How I treat my
Yeah.
mother is how she's going to treat me. So I
Yeah.
am committed to doing this. So
Yes,
I have been working on all these difficult
that's
conversations
huge.
with my mom and coming back in and loving and all this stuff. So that's how come we're here today. And so there's that piece. And then another piece that I realized being with my mom is my mom has PTSD. My mom has PTSD
Yeah,
from living with my dad. And so she's reacting to me like she's reacting to my dad, and I'm not my dad. She can rely on me so much more and have more capacity, have more confidence, have more space for her. So when I realized that my mom had PTSD from living with my dad and how fearful she has always been, my dad is great. He was great, man, and all that stuff. But he was an immigrant himself, and there was a lot of things that he didn't know. And he
yeah,
had his own
yeah,
insecurity and everything else. So when I realized that, I told her, and of course she denies it. She's like, I don't have PTSD. Only people in war have PTSD. I'm like, oh yeah, you do. Just driving with her, she's like so
yeah,
panicky. I'm like, am I gonna know the way?
yeah.
And she has to tell me.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if I didn't realize that, I would react to her and think like, why don't you trust me and all this stuff. But when I saw that, oh, this is because she has PTSD and she has been feeling unsafe and had to rely on herself all this time. So to be with someone that she can rely on, she doesn't know how to do that. So she had to fight for that.
right, right.
So then I can be more patient with her and just go, okay, I got it. You have PTSD. It's my job to help you heal that and keep reminding you that
Yeah,
I know, mom, I know that when you were driving with dad, all these fears came up. So you feel like you have to do that. You're with me now. It's okay. I've got this.
yeah,
You can help me. You can tell
yeah,
me as many times as you need to that we're going to turn left or turn right. That's fine. And I'll let you do that.
yeah,
And I didn't have to get upset about it. So that was like
yeah.
a big V8 moment for me. I'm like, oh,
Wow.
it's not me, it's her.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The thing about that, and that's oh my gosh, the way that you navigate that is so brilliant. What happens on my end is again, it's the triggers because it's that thing of all the lifelong experiences that we've had together
Yes.
that I don't want to feel that feeling anymore
Yeah.
in my interactions with her. It keeps coming up over and over. It's a lot better in it,
Yeah.
but it's it's a work in progress. So so again, it's like that navigating the experience and
It's like
yeah,
you
well,
you can't afford
I'm
to
with
go to your teenager rebellious self. You can't afford to go to your little girl being hurt by her mom. Like you have to find a different place in you. Like this woman who know how
yeah,
to navigate and flow through um, what's happening and really seeing what is really going on, because it's not what our little girls think inside us.
yeah,
It's not mommy being mad at us. It's not we're not doing it right.
yeah,
It's her
yeah,
processing her information.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a little complicated. It's definitely not without
It get
challenges.
oh man. So one thing it's coming up right now that I think is fair to share as well is that underlying belief that in our PTSD, because I know that I do have some PTSD from so many things, but
Yeah.
in relationship in relationship to my family dynamics, it's that underlying uh very subconscious feeling that I am not enough, that I
Yeah.
am not a good enough daughter, that I'm not a good
Yeah.
enough woman in the
Yeah.
world, that I'm not as good as my mom wanted me to be. I'm now married. I don't
Mm.
have a professional career. My daughter is living with her boyfriend in another
Oh, I don't
state,
have
and she didn't
money.
go.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have millions of dollars. So it's all that. But I also understand that she has that underlying feeling of her not being enough.
Yeah.
So it's how to um and I so one of the things I've been doing is working on that underlying. subconscious belief that it's not me. It's because I am more than enough. But we are all more than enough. She is more than enough. So breathing in, breathing in that. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that center of within myself that knows that I am enough and that she is enough too.
Yeah.
We are all
And that she's
so
being
enough.
triggered, and she's being triggered in the I'm not enough
Yeah.
also. And then when both sides are in
Yeah.
that, it's
Yeah.
awful. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Oh man.
when
So
you
so
say that,
that's a
that reminds me, another thing that I had to learn too was I have to learn to speak these things out. Like, speak to that, like, oh, mom, are you feeling not enough right now? I'm feeling not enough. Like, I'm not doing it right now. I think we're both doing that.
Mhm.
Oh, that's what is. So then it's like it's a new vocabulary for her and for me, and we're like, oh, that's what's happening, and then we can move forward with that. I remember this one time she was
Yeah.
doing the extra mile, and then she was cleaning the kitchen late at night, and she knocked over my favorite water bottle, and she loved that one too,
Mm.
and she was so upset, and she was like, no, and then it
Mm.
whatever, and then I'm like, it's okay, mom, it's just a water bottle, I'll just get another one if it's broken, but it's fine. And then and then it dawned on me, so I came up to her and I hugged her and I said, oh, it must have felt terrible to knock that over, huh? You were trying
Yeah.
so hard to love
Yeah.
me and take care of
Yeah.
me, and then you end up knocking it over, and you like that ball, and I like that ball, and you didn't want to hurt it, right? Oh my gosh, she just completely
Yes.
changed. She's like,
Yeah.
yes, I was feeling so bad that I did that. And so
Yeah.
instead of reacting on top of that, I was able to speak to it and to the heart of it. So then she was like, yes, and she felt understood by it. And then it just kind of like gone, she felt so loved by that. And I was like, oh, yay! I'm so glad I have the vocabulary
Yeah.
to name what is going on to help her um,
Yeah.
help her
Oh
feel what she's
my gosh.
feeling.
That is huge. Like how many times does that happen in our day to day that we get our feelings validated? Because we
Yeah,
have that thing inside of our heads, like, oh shoot, I didn't want to do that. I feel so bad. And we start saying things to ourselves, but then we are also mad and we're also embarrassed with somebody
right.
else. But
Yeah,
having,
well,
I mean, that's such an
she
act of
skipped past the
love.
feelings. My mom is classic at skipping past the feeling and go
Yeah.
to the rational. And
Yes.
she's like, "Well, you didn't need
Yeah.
that bottle anyway. You had two bottles." Or she'll say stupid things
Yeah.
like that pisses everybody off, right? So I'm like, "Oh, we're not going that way." It's like you must have felt right, and then it just allowed her to touch her feelings, and it was like, oh, thank God, now we both can breathe and it's
That's beautiful.
okay, all this while.
Yeah.
It's so cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh,
have
that's
one I have
huge.
one last thing that I want to share before we go. And this is such a big thing.
Yeah.
So I'm a woman of the world, and I don't want to just stay home and grow old with my mom. I want my mom with me. If she wants me to be her caregiver and be there for her, she's got to pack her back and travel with me. I have work to do around the world. I got
Mhm.
to be in Vietnam. I got to be in Azerbaijan. I got to be in Sweden. I got to be in, in the van. And so I told her, I said, Mom, I really want you to come with me. You need to stop thinking about traveling because I can't stay home.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it just breaks my heart to say that. And then if the politics in America gets worse and then Trump gets re-elected, I'm out. I'm gone. I am not here anymore. So I'm very clear with that. And she loves him. So she's like, Mom,
Mhm.
it's so safe here. I'm like,
She will
anyway,
be happy to stay if he gets reelected, maybe.
yeah, don't start me on that one. Anyway, so but I have to prepare her, and I don't want to lead her on. And it's been so amazing to have this conversation with her like that. And I said, I want you to come with me. I don't want you to be going old and died. She's 80 something. She's already growing old. And now she's gonna die
Yeah.
by herself. But she comes back and she said, I totally understand. And I love this country. I'm going to stay here. You need to do what you need to do. And I'm totally okay with that. Set you free. And I'm
Wow.
just like, it's so exquisitely
Wow.
beautiful to like be so honest about this. And I have to prepare myself because, when it's time to go, you've got to go,
Mm.
right? So, but it's still going to be super hard, but at the same time I'm so proud of us again to be able to hit these situation and be honest with each other and say this is where it's at, and I invite you, I want you, but
Yeah.
I'm not staying. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so hard.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful, May. That she has been able to do that. Like, just, okay, thank you for offering me this, but you got to do what you got to do. That's
Yeah,
huge.
and for
That's
someone
big
who's so
conversation.
yeah, for someone who's so good at throwing guilt and controlling him, but she is not. She's just really rise up to it. And so like you're falling in love with your mom, and I am falling in love with my mom too. I see how resilient she really is, and I see
Hmm.
how she can process things through if I'm clean and clear with her, and
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
we keep growing together and giving each other space to be. It's just so amazing. And like I said, I don't have an easy relationship with my mom. She's not an easy woman to live with. It's super challenging to be with her. And yet I'm finding the path to it. And I'm falling madly in love with my mom.
That is so beautiful. And I think that it's such a great opportunity to be able to heal what has come up for us in this relationship with mothers. I mean, that is we came here, we're here because of them. So there is such a huge link to life in our relationship with our mothers. So
Yeah.
being able to bring some healing to that. I know for me, man, I have had so many awful feelings in my family relationship, and I know that it's mutual. So
Yeah.
there's nobody's at fault. It's just I know that that is here for me to heal.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
because otherwise I wouldn't be here. And to be able to take a step back and see that and go, okay, I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm gonna do the best that I can, and I trust that I'm gonna be guided. And this conversation has been extremely juicy and wholesome, and I so appreciate everything that you share and what you and I share offline all the time about this because
Mhm.
it I think it takes a village, right? It's that relationship, but it's also those around us that can hold the space for us to flourish in the best that we can be in elevating that.
Well, and what
Yeah.
we are able to do for ourselves, and that's why we choose to do this on camera, is is we have to laugh at this. It's so hard. And when
Yeah.
you try to do it by yourself and you shoot yourself and you punish yourself for not doing a good job, that is going to make you grow old fast, right? So you have to have girlfriends that you can talk
Yeah.
about, and you can go, oh my God, can you believe my mother did this? And approve of ourselves and love ourselves forward and remind we don't even have to remind ourselves that we can do it.
Yeah.
Just the fact that we can air it out, joke about it, laugh about it, and have empathy and have compassion about this journey
Yeah.
with our mom
Yeah.
is
Totally.
what's going to help you find your way forward
Yeah.
with your mom. And I really do hope that all
Hmm.
of us make peace with our mom before they die, and all of us get to fall madly in love with our
Oh
mothers,
yeah.
so that you
Yeah.
can see, like what you said about your mom, you
Yeah.
can see how strong and how beautiful and how brilliant she is and how amazing she is. It's wonderful, right? And then how it
Yeah.
relates to our daughter, because
Yeah.
basically that's what we want from our daughter is they
Hmm.
look at us and they have compassion for us, and they see our beauty and our hearts
Yeah.
and what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
That's
so
it.
they can follow if people want to. I hope you all follow Claudia because she's amazing, and her Instagram page is amazing. It's so beautiful, all the food that Claudia makes, and and how she presents nourishment to her world, to the world. And so you can follow Claudia on Instagram. How do they find you on Instagram, honey?
It's Claudia Castillo Holley. I don't even know. Are we on Facebook?
We're on
So we can
Facebook.
type. Okay. So it's Claudia Castillo Holley. Can I type it,
You
or I can
know,
type it afterwards?
I can't type on my phone. I can't type it
That's okay.
in, but I can add it to the description later on. So Claudia,
Okay. Yeah.
so it's like Claudia, and then
C
Castillo,
L A
C A
U
S.
D I A C A S T I L L O HOLLEY on Instagram, and on Facebook. It's the same. I mean, it's my both personal pages. I just post a lot about what I do in the world with food and yeah. Oh my gosh, this was
It's
awesome.
lovely.
Thank you so
Yes.
much, May.
Thank you everyone for listening and
Thank you.
supporting us. If you love listening to Bold Brave Women's conversation, there's a few things that you can get involved with. One is if you want a community that loves you and love you unconditionally, and it's free, join my Bold Brave Women Facebook group. It's private and you can post whatever you want on there. So that's one. And on my YouTube channel, there's a whole library now of Brave Women conversations with friends and colleagues like Claudia on there. We talk about deep, yummy stuff that's real and help us bold and brave women move through life. And so Bold Brave Woman channel. And then last but not least, if you love what I do and you want to support me or add a smile to my day, you can buy me a cup of coffee. There's a thing now, Claudia, that they can buy a cup of coffee. It's called Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com. And then you can find my name, which is Mai Vu Coach, on there. And I would so love
That
to
is
be
so
loved by
sweet. I
you
didn't
all.
know that. Thank you for
I
telling
know.
me.
Yeah. For $5, you can buy someone a coffee across the world. It's really great. So
That is so
I,
cute. Oh my gosh.
yes, yes. There's a lot more uh, episodes coming, so we need coffee. No, just kidding. Anyway, thank you so much again, honey, for coming on and sharing with me on this most endearing topic to our hearts. I know that this, aside from our daughter, this is like the next most important thing, and then our work in the world, right? So, thank you for sharing this vulnerable
Yeah,
space with
yeah.
me. Right. Have a wonderful day, everyone. See
Thank
you
you.
on the
Thank you for
next
having me. It was
episode.
wonderful.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.